Hi, this is Dmitry. I'm driving to work, and today I wanted to briefly talk to you about why I think A9 is and will be a game changer when it comes to sports photography. Uh, yeah, that has been said before with many other cameras, but it never happened. However, A9, all of a sudden we see at White House briefings, we see that camera in front and center of Wimbledon, at the finals. Why? I think it has to do with one fact and one fact only: 20 frames per second with continuous autofocus that tracks at 20 frames per second. That's pretty much it, I think, for most sports photographers. Because for sports photography, bottom line is, for most types of sports photography, is how fast can I shoot? And in this particular case, Canon and Nikons can go up to 11, 14 frames per second, perhaps, and Sony A9 has 20, and this is as simple as that. If Canon and Nikon can come up with a flagship camera that does 20 frames per second with continuous autofocus, nobody's going to change to Sony. People are going to stay with Canon and Nikon. I think that's the truth. However, they can't, or at least not with current technology, and I don't know if they will be able to in near future. The most they can do is up to 14, some 15, but Sony can do 20. And there's a difference between 20 and 14. There's a difference between 20 and 10. Now, some of you may say that, look, 10 frames per second is fast enough. It's very fast. And for the longest time, 10 frames per second was, super fast. And it was 8 frames per second before that. Why do you need 20? 10 is plenty. And perhaps 10 is plenty, but there's a big difference between 20 and 10. And I can always tell it by shooting A9 at medium, which is 10 frames per second, versus high, which is 20. You'd think 10 frames per second was really, really fast. But shooting something as trivial as my child jumping into the pool, I can see now that I have 20 frames per second, how many more shots I get with 20 frames per second. At 10 frames per second, you do get breaks, like when my kid is jumping into the pool. You can see several shots and then he's into the pool. With 10 frames per second, there are just many more choices in between those shots, and they're clear. That's clear to me because you can clearly see the difference. Had I, if you never tried 20 frames per second, you'll think that 10 frames per second is the best thing since sliced bread. But once you try 20 frames per second, once you try shooting things that move with 20 frames per second, you will not want to go back to 10 because you just have more choices. The convenience of having more choices is priceless to the sports photographers who are looking for once in a lifetime expression on the athlete's face. That's why I think A9 is and will be a game changer when it comes to sports photography. Now, tennis at first, and other sports, and I'm talking obviously about sports that don't require flash to be shot at every shot. Obviously, if you require flash, then there is no advantage. But I think things like tennis at this point, and maybe soccer in the future when Sony releases longer glass, and you will see more and more photographers switching to Sony A9. That's just my prediction. Thank you.